Oh, yeah. Yeah, she was very sweet.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Council meeting to order, January 8, 2026. Please stand and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, everyone received a copy of their minutes. I hope everyone's had a chance to review them. Does anyone have any questions or comments for anyone on the minutes? If not, I need a motion to approve. Thank you, Sarah. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Isaac. Going around the room?
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Awesome, thank you all. I wanted to give everyone a copy of the treasurer's report. Any questions on any of the fund balances or loan balance or anything on the financial report for Melinda?
I couldn't open it up.
You want to see that?
You can have one copy. The big change was cost taxes are coming in and then a little bit of interest. So. Change in a good direction.
Yeah.
Good. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Next, bills for payment. I wanted to say, Sharon, do you have any questions on the bills for payment? Does anyone have questions on the bills for payment?
Everyone has a copy at their spot because I had to add 3 bills because council meeting is early this month, so.
And the landfill came 2 months again?
So the landfill, it's because there was 5 Monday, Tuesdays, there was 5 in December, so we got hit with an extra one instead of 4.
But it's usually, what's our,
7.
oh, is it 7? Okay, I keep thinking that 45 or whatever we were at.
Not anymore.
Okay. That's the old days. That's the old days.
Yeah.
Okay, any questions on any of the bills? Anybody? No one at all? Okay, need a motion to approve then.
Make a motion, we approve payment of the bills.
Okay, thank you, Sharon. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Clarence. Go around the room?
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Awesome. Okay, Chief, what do you got for us today?
Okay, so if you didn't see on social media, I awarded Officer Sergeant with the Department Life-Saving Award. He responded to a cardiac arrest and deployed his department-issued AED. Rescue personnel advised that in transport to the hospital, the patient regained consciousness and began speaking with him. They stated to me that if it had not been for his quick response and the use of AED, the patient may have not have survived. I want to congratulate him again on that award. We received the payment for the Officer Wellness Grant in the amount of $11,700. We've been waiting for that to come through. Lastly, I assisted Chris with the Versa Grant. He applied for safety equipment. I put in the town manager's email to receive the email if we are awarded for that funding.
What is that for?
So that's through Versa, our insurance company. They have a safety grant, and so it depends on the size of your organization and the premiums that you pay as to how much grant you can get awarded. And we've taken advantage of it. Most years we try to, and I thank Chief for doing that because I just didn't have time to get around to it.
Yeah, the last time the police department applied for it, I think we updated some emergency equipment on our vehicle.
And so it goes specifically towards like equipment for safety purposes. And so they applied for a grant for to cover, or at least cover part of the cost of confined entry, like going into manholes for equipment to do that safely. So it's a good program. I mean, what is it? Ours is $1,000.
Thanks, $2,000.
$2,000. So that goes towards that equipment purchase. So just helps offset that cost.
Okay. Anything else, Chief?
That's it, sir.
This is nice.
Thank you.
Thank you. did a good job.
Thank you.
I guess when you, down you, AC Public Works.
All right. So if anybody hasn't seen, the Roxbury subdivision is moving a lot of dirt, moving that along pretty well. Been in discussion with the developer and the engineer about the design of the townhouse units and parking spaces and things like that. And I'll be talking to Quentin about that afterwards. So they're trying to move that on. One of the things they're looking at doing, they had presented a picture of a concept of what it would look like. They're looking, because they're working with a different company now, and they're looking at not having the garages in the buildings, and so trying to figure out the required parking spaces in the front of the buildings. Taking the garages out actually brings them down. If they were to do them with the garages, they would be about $300,000 or $310,000 per unit for the townhouse ones. Taking that out would drop that price down. I think they said $249,000, which is actually getting down into what would be a normal affordable range anymore. It is hard to believe. And it actually also lowers, if they had that garage in there, it would actually make it a 3-story building because of the garage. And if by taking the garage out, it would actually be a 2-story building. So the profile, the disruption to the horizon would be less. So I'll talk to Quentin about that afterwards and see what if anything can be worked out on that one. I know they're kind of waiting on some answers back from the town, so that they're kind of at a standstill, waiting for us to answer them so they can proceed with that. So, I've had some conversations with somebody who's looking at doing the second phase of the Orchard subdivision up here. Not sure how fast that's going to progress, but there is somebody that's definitely interested in that. There's somebody who's also interested in, what was it, a little bit over a year ago maybe, council approved the concept plan for the development behind the Food Line Shopping Center on the 19 acres. It's like 46 or 47 single-family homes. And D.R. Horton was going to do that project, and then they decided, I guess it wasn't going to make them enough money, or wasn't going to hit what they needed to make the money on. So somebody else is actually looking at that now, and I've talked to that individual and explained to them that it's already been rezoned to R2 conditional, where it gives them the ability to have slightly smaller lots, but it could only still be single-family homes. So hopefully that'll move along too, and get something taken care of. And mailed out letters to all of the residences with unknown service line material. This is part of the lead line inventory requirement. And so we have a certain number of years to be able to complete our inventory. We have an inventory complete, but a lot of those are unknown material right now. And so we have a certain amount of time, so many years to be able to actually get those identified. The ones that we don't know what they are, we have to send out a letter each year. That's one of the requirements, is an annual letter letting people know that we don't know what their service line is.
But if I remember right, the line that we don't know about is the one that they own.
Right. Right. It's the service line that would go from the town, from the meter into their house.
Right.
But the federal mandate on that was that localities are responsible for identifying the material on these lines, which we don't maintain.
Right, that they used and they own.
Can you check the water for lead?
I don't think you can do it. You can't test the water. You have to physically identify the material of the pipe. And there's different ways of doing it with magnets or other methods. Certain ones, like, so it was after I think it was 89, was when the lead ban went into full effect. And so, we have chunks of our residents that we know, like Legion Hills, because that was built so recent.
Right.
Timber Crest subdivision wasn't started until 1991, so we know that that's all, we know that there aren't any issues with that. So based on when those residences were built, we can eliminate some of those. But Timberville's an old town, like all the other towns on the East Coast, so it'll be a lot of identification to do. So we're Chris and I are trying to come up with a game plan of how to do that, the best way to do it. We haven't seen any kind of funding or to be able to hire a contractor to go out and do it. And we have a small maintenance crew. So it's just trying to get something scheduled and trying to get on some kind of routine to do that. So, but anyway, those letters went out, so some of y'all might have received, maybe everybody received it.
I did.
So do we have to go, like, someone show up my yard one day and dig the yard up to see what that pipe is?
Very likely that's how it will work.
Okay. And figure out where it's at first?
As long as, figuring out where it's at shouldn't be too hard because we know where the meter is.
Okay, gotcha.
And so we can just dig back a few feet from the meter
Okay.
beyond that, so. But yeah, you can't go into the house and test it inside the house because the material inside the house might be different than the material on the outside of the house.
Mine's
so.
copper inside, yeah.
Yeah, so.
Okay, wow, and that's a federal mandate. Wow.
Don't forget about it.
That's all that I have in my report for Public Works anyway, so unless anybody has any questions on anything.
The only thing I had that came up in the police report is the vehicles, some of the vehicles down at the town lot, like the pickup truck and older police cars that probably aren't worth a lot right now. Chief said you're working with him to figure out what to do with those.
So, yeah, it's two different categories of vehicles down there. So the town-owned vehicles are surplus police vehicles or maintenance vehicles or whatever we might have. Those are pretty easy. We can get those put on. We typically use publicsurplus.com to auction off that equipment. And so those are pretty easy to take care of. The other part, the other side of it, the other category of vehicle are the ones that have been seized and have been impounded and have never been reclaimed. I've been trying to work through the DMV to figure out how in the world we get an online account set up for the town through DMV, because we have to have an online account to be able to fill out all the different forms to be able to sell and seized property.
I'm more interested in like we don't want that pickup truck to sit there for a year and a
Right,
half.
yeah.
And the police cars have already sat there.
Yeah,
I
police cars
think
have been
two
there.
were wrecked, I think.
One of them is.
One of them's
Yeah.
wrecked, and the other one's been there long enough to where it's not gonna be worth more than,
Yeah.
somebody needs parts, that kind of thing, so.
But those are fairly easy to do.
Okay.
So yeah, I told Chief that I would get those taken care of pretty quick. And then try to figure out. I've been to the DMV, I've called all the numbers at the DMV in Richmond, and nobody can seem to help me on how do we get this account set up.
Oh.
So
Okay.
it's a bit challenging.
You would say just like I thought.
That's all in Public Works. Right?
Business industry, anything new on that? I know you said something about that.
Right, so we have the plans, we've been reviewing those for the Walmart fueling station. And when Walmart was first proposed, that was one of the original components of it, was to have a fuel station. And it will be going in, as you're going American Legion Drive, where you turn to go into Walmart off of American Legion, it's that kind of big flat area. That's where the fueling station will sit. And I think it's 8 pumps that will be going in there. So when Walmart first went in, or when it was first proposed, they'd shown it on the plans and they pulled it off the plans. I believe they moved it to
Near the hospital.
the market, the Walmart market, out near the hospital. So now we're getting one. They're adding back in now.
Nice.
It is nice.
Is there any timeline on it, they tell you?
I'm not sure how fast they'll move. I'm guessing it'll probably be pretty quick. It seems like once everything gets approved, it will be pretty quick. They do have some corrections and stuff to make on the plans. The one thing that we had concerns about, and we haven't got into that depth of the plan yet, is as you go in that entrance, it's kind of the winding entrance, and it feels pretty narrow to start with, especially the way people come in and out. And so the entrance into the fueling station would be kind of off of that curve, or the curved part of the road going in. So we want to make sure that that's designed satisfactorily so that it doesn't create any issues, the way people kind of come in and out of there. And then if you're adding people going in and fuel trucks going in and out too, it might get a little bit tight in there. So that's one of the big things that we're looking at. Everything else is pretty easy, fairly easy to do. And then I was contacted by a realtor about the warehouse back here. Apparently it's not being used anymore with the whole conditional use
Okay.
process for the cabinet storage. It was a local realtor that had reached out to me to ask questions about it. They were to maybe co-list it with, it's currently listed through a real estate agent in Maryland. And so they were looking at maybe doing a co-listing so they would have a local listing too. Apparently they couldn't agree on what the price should be listed at. It's currently listed at $1.95 million. 4¼ acres, and then the big warehouse. It was purchased just a little over a year ago for $820,000. So it may be sitting for a while. And that's all that I have on business and industry.
Okay. Moving right along. Parks and Rec, probably nothing right now.
I'll do a real quick update on the Shenandoah Rail Trail.
Oh, yes.
The Commonwealth Transportation Board met on Tuesday. I don't know if anybody happened to watch it. I had it on kind of throughout the day. It's an all-day meeting, so I kind of had it on the background and then could listen to the pertinent parts of it. There was a proposal made at the December 9th CTB meeting to transfer the funds, the $35 million that was allocated by the General Assembly for the trail project, to transfer that to the Virginia Passenger Rail Authority, VPRA, which would then transfer those funds to the Shenandoah Valley Battlefields Foundation, which is a private entity. It seemed like a very hurried process, especially after it's taken so long to kind of go through this. VDOT was charged with doing an assessment, and it was over a year long, which is a very long time for a VDOT study. The end of that, so the VDOT's third phase report came out at the end of November, and it said they put a price tag of $164 million on the trail only, and they put a price tag of $687 million on the rail with trail. The VDOT was directed to do that assessment so that the decision makers would have pertinent information on which would be the best option. And so some of the CTB members didn't even have that report at the December 9th meeting. And after the report was released, there were supposed to be follow-up community meetings and public input sessions. And those just disappeared off of VDOT's website. So and so last month, I asked council if you would permit me to send that letter. And so I sent the letter to the CTB and to VPRA. And on Tuesday, they brought it up. It's been pretty heated debate. We just really wanted everything to slow down and make sure that however the money is transferred, that there's accountability in that process and that it's a transparent process, and whoever gets the money is when we do a project and we award a contract, we go through public procurement and we put it out for bid and all that, and none of that was done in this process. So it ended up, there were two votes. There was a motion and then there was a counter motion. The counter motion, so both of them ended up being tied at 6-6. The counter motion failed because the Transportation Secretary, Shep Miller, voted against the delay. And then there was the original motion was to proceed with the proposal and transfer the funds to VPRA. Again, it was a 6-6 tie, and then the Secretary pushed it through. They did add a little bit more detail into their proposal, so we're still not all warm and fuzzy about it. But we will be watching it pretty careful to make sure that it's taxpayer money, it's $35 million of taxpayer money. So we're going to be watching it real careful to make sure that it goes towards what it's supposed to go towards, and that it's not dragged out for a long time, and that all the contracts are done the way that they should be done. So, anyway, still hoping to get the trail, just not sure what form it's going to be in. So, but that's how it ended up on Tuesday.
It's going to make it very difficult to have a train and a trail from Timberville to Broadway. It's going to be very difficult.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how many, if any, of the group that's pushing for rail with trail has walked the entire line. Dad had me down along the river the whole time while I was growing up, so we were up and down the train tracks all the time. And if anybody else has been up and down through there, you know it's very narrow, especially along the cliffs that back up to the homes up here on the bluff. If you have a 10-foot wide train coming through, the rock outcroppings on that cliff side, there are a couple places where it's like 1.5 to 2 feet of clearance from where the train's missing those rocks. So you can't it's going to be very difficult to put a path on that side, any kind of path, much less a substantial path. And then on the other side, you have to drop off going down the river. So it's going to be very challenging. That's just in our, I walked a third of a mile from Pilgrims up and had 5 different spots where it was close like that. And there are a lot of other spots up towards Broadway that are the same way. And from what I've been told by other members that are involved in the project, if you head north, that all along there are all kinds of challenges, not to mention all the bridges that they have to deal with. So it's going to be very challenging just from a physical geography standpoint.
That's why the difference is 160 versus
Almost
700,000. That's why. And that's in today's dollars.
Right.
That'll only be in 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 years.
Okay, anything else for Parks and Rec?
I don't think so.
Okay. Finance, not ready here.
I pulled the big budget notebook out the other day and started refiling papers, so that's coming up. I talked to Chief and I talked to Chris, the department heads, and said, hey, start formulating your lists of things should be included in the budget. So
Now, before the budget happens, I do know that we still have, $296,000 of ARPA funds that I think we've done all the projects except for
The maintenance.
the maintenance.
the maintenance building, and I think there are some small sewer projects, I believe.
Let's figure, because we have to spend that
By the end of this year,
2026.
yeah. So I've got the RFP pretty much ready for the maintenance building.
We do and we don't. We could call it general
Revenue replacement.
revenue replacement, but if we're keeping by the original rule, we'll spend it by 26.
We just want to get it done so that we don't have to track it for.
Exactly. There's no reason to track it any more than get it done this year and be done with it. I agree. You agree?
Yes, 100%.
Okay, so we don't have to worry about the finance stuff right now. Or budget right now. Okay, personnel?
It'll be here before you know it.
I know it will. Personnel, chief?
I don't have anything.
I'll just say it's been pretty challenging, I think maybe in all the departments, with holidays and illnesses.
Illnesses, yeah.
Town staff has done an amazing job of filling in the gaps in coverage with all of those different things going on, so.
There's been a lot of sickness
Great
going
job
around.
for them. It has been there are a lot of illnesses going around.
Okay. What you got in the museum there, ma'am?
One room is finished, the ramp should be finished tomorrow. And then they will be starting on the archive room,
Is the ramp on the art sale side, the entrance there?
no in the front.
Okay, oh, okay, right there. I got you. Okay. And what was the last part?
The archive room will be starting next week.
Okay, awesome.
What do you got for us, chief?
A little bit, I guess. October 1937, the old covered bridge was in the process of being torn down. You've heard some of these before, I'm sure. October 1928, Governor Harry F. Byrd spoke at a political rally held in the auditorium at the Timberville High School. October 1946, 1 million bushels of apples were in the field above the cannery. That's the most years they had about 500,000 bushels, but 1946 was a tremendous crop of apples. August 15th, 1945, a community meeting was held at the Brethren Church at 8:15, celebrating VJ Day. Thursday, January 23rd, 1936. Here's 3 days in a row. 2 degrees below zero, with about the strongest wind that ever blew around this area. And then the next day, January 24th, 5 degrees below zero at 7 p.m., and then January 25th, the furnace at the Brethren Church had cracked, and 12 radiators were cracked or had pieces broken out of them. That was a cold spell, I'd say.
It's a cold spell.
Saturday, February 3rd, 1923. The movie picture Deception was shown tonight at the Columbia Theater. In September 1909, around the Timberville area, a bushel of apples cost 50 cents and a pound of bacon was 15 cents. And that's it.
Thank you. Okay, council, anyone have other business? No one on this side? No one on this side? Okay, public comment. Anybody want to make some comment? You need comment today?
No, sir.
Anybody public comment? Then thank you all, meeting's adjourned.